June 1st, 2010 County Commission meeting will come to order. Call on Mr. Johnson for the prayer.
Let's pray, please. Heavenly Father, we come to you the day after Memorial Day, and we thank you for those who've gone before us, who've paid the greatest sacrifice to preserve our liberty. And Father, we know that from time to time it'll be necessary that people put themselves in harm's way to protect that liberty. And many of them will perish as a result of their actions. At this time, Father, we just pray you'd be with the families of those who have lost loved ones in the defense of our country, that you would comfort them. Comfort them with the knowledge, Father, that they paid the greatest sacrifice for the greatest country that has ever existed on the face of the earth. And Father, we know that this country was built by your hand and not our own, and we'll always be mindful of that. And we'll conduct our lives in a manner, Father, that befits the blessings you've given us, and that we'll honor you, and that we'll serve one another. We ask your blessing on each one here tonight. In the proceedings of this board, may we govern wisely in a manner that will please you and bless the people of this county. We ask it in Christ's name. Amen.
I'll just stand for the allegiance flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Messenger, you have adjustments to the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I do have a couple of adjustments to make to the agenda. Under presentations of special recognitions and awards, I'd like to add a presentation of the Old North State Award. And then I'd like to have a deletion and item M, memo number 17. Item M, memo number 17, would like to delete that item from the agenda tonight and plan to add that back on at the mid-monthly meeting. Those are the adjustments I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Are there any additional adjustments or corrections to the agenda? Anyone? Okay, if not, I'll take a motion to accept the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve this agenda as amended.
Any questions regarding the motion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Presentation of special recognition awards. We call on Ms. Johnson at this time.
Mr. Chairman, it's my honor to present a proclamation this evening to the Habitat for Humanity of Iredell County. At this point, I'm going to ask Mr. Scott Loudermilk to come forward, and whoever he'd like to come with him will be fine. Loudermilk, if you'd like to introduce your...
Absolutely. I'm Scott Loudermilk. I'm Executive Director at Habitat Iredell. This is Mary Catherine Harbin. She is our board president this year, and we have various sundry staff and or board members out in the audience.
Recognize them at this time.
Absolutely. This is Sally Nix, our Director of Development. Mr. Bill Hamby, he is on our board. John Childress, he is a board member. David Moore, Jill Baker, and Ann Trent.
We're glad to have you folks with us this evening. At this time, I'd like to read this proclamation extending thanks and congratulations to the Habitat for Humanity of Iredell County. Whereas Habitat for Humanity of Iredell County is a nonprofit, faith-based agency with a mission to alleviate poverty and substandard housing in our community by constructing and renovating homes in partnership with working families and volunteers. And whereas Habitat for Humanity of Iredell County advocates on behalf of those in need of simple, decent, and affordable housing and seeks to promote transformational and sustainable community development, and whereas Habitat homes are sold to the partner families using a zero-interest mortgage, and homeowners then pay back the loan over time, which creates capital for which to build more houses, and whereas Habitat for Humanity of Iredell County engages the community by using thousands of volunteer hours per year, and whereas Habitat for Humanity of Iredell County makes a significant economic and social impact on the community by constructing and renovating homes so that families spend less money on housing and more on education, health care, and improving the quality of their life. And whereas Habitat for Humanity promotes dignity through full partnership with Habitat owners and future home partners, and whereas Habitat for Humanity of Iredell County was founded in 1985, and since that time, 61 homes have been built and dedicated in this community, 26 homes have been repaired, and the organization has been responsible for the building of 46 homes worldwide. That's got to be a mystery. Yeah. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Iredell County Board of Commissioners hereby issues this proclamation of thanks to Habitat for Humanity and extends congratulations on the organization's 25th year of service in Iredell County. This, the first day of June 2010, presented by the Iredell County Board of Commissioners and signed by our chairman, Mr. Marvin Norman. So I present you with this proclamation with a thanks on this Board of Commissioners and the people of this county for your selfless acts. Thank you
so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, the next item is supposed to be to honor a person who's not here yet.
Not here.
So what I would recommend that you do is that you go on to the appointments before the board.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Appointment before the board, Ms. Rice.
Mr. Chairman and members of the board, I'm here this evening to present Iredell's proposed 2011 Aging Funding Plan for your review and consideration. Let me frame the plan with just a few comments about aging in our county. Iredell's 60-plus population continues to grow and now numbers close to 28,000. The first of the baby boomers, those are the folks that were born in 1949 and 50, are now eligible for aging programs and services. Others of us are learning about and turning to the aging service system to take care of our older parents and older relatives who are now in their 70s, their 80s, and their 90s. Our county, like the entire state, faces the challenge of providing services for the remaining members of the greatest generations, many of whom we honored on Memorial Day, Mr. Johnson. Those who were young during World War II and are now in their 80s and older, as well as the challenge we face in providing services for the young old as they age and become more vulnerable. What does this mean for Iredell's older adults? This means the Council on Aging will continue to provide services along the continuum of care, adjusting to the new attitudes of baby boomers demanding services while keeping our frail elderly in their homes and in their communities as long as possible. With the 2011 Aging Funding Plan, the Council on Aging proposes to continue providing vital services such as transportation to medical appointments, as well as the grocery store for the older adult who can no longer drive. We'll help the 85-year-old woman living at the Plaza in Statesville or Circle Drive in Mooresville stay in her apartment by providing level 1 chore services once a week, helping her maintain a safe and clean environment so she can continue to live independently. We'll help the elderly couple, married for 50-plus years, remain together at home. She's taking care of him 24/7, as he suffers the indignities of Alzheimer's. Our respite service means this loyal wife can leave the home at least once or twice a week to get groceries, run errands, or simply take a break from the constant demands and rigors of caregiving. We'll continue providing nutrition services, offering congregate meals in Mooresville, Troutman, Statesville, and Harmony. This provides a gathering place for our seniors to enjoy a balanced meal and that all-important social contact on a daily basis. For those too frail to leave the house, volunteers will deliver a meal to the lone, isolated senior dealing with too many infirmities to prepare a balanced meal. This is especially important to the 83-year-old diabetic who could not answer the volunteer's knock because she was unable to get out of bed, her blood sugar levels dangerously low. And for seniors needing a variety of service, we'll continue providing countless opportunity at the agency's Iredell and South Iredell Senior Centers, both certified by the Division of Aging as Centers of Excellence. What kinds of services are offered at the senior centers? It could be help in completing federal or state income tax forms, or deciphering Medicare Part D, or cutting through the whole Medicare maze and choosing a supplemental policy. It could be learning a computer for the 80-year-old who's never even sat down at one, or taking a driver's refresher course. And what about the senior theater group, or the chronic disease self-management class, or water exercises, or Tai Chi to promote health and balance and prevent falls, helping older adults stay active and engaged in life. All of these services along the continuum of care are available through the Older Americans Act, which funds the Home and Community Care Block Grant. Iredell's HCCBG committee met several weeks ago to consider the fiscal year 2011 Aging Funding Plan. The good news, the 2011 Older Americans Act target funding for our county has actually increased by about 2.5%. The committee considered current service levels and heard about waiting lists for services. And the culmination of their work is the proposed 2011 funding plan you have before you. As you may recall, the Federal Older Americans Act, the HCCBG monies, require a minimum of 10% local matching monies. The county has helped the Council on Aging meet this requirement, and in doing so, brings back $9 in federal monies for every dollar contributed by the county, and we appreciate this vital support. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have about the proposed plan, and I appreciate your consideration in approving the 2011 Aging Funding Plan for Iredell County.
Thank you, Ms. Rice. Any questions for Ms. Rice? Thank you.
Mr. Robertson.
Okay.
Mr. Robertson, did you want to introduce the scout?
I did. We are very pleased tonight to have a special guest. We've got from Troop 171 in Mooresville, North Carolina. Star Scout Will O'Toole is here, and he's working on his Citizenship in the Community Merit Badge. And just like to say, Will, we're glad that you're here tonight.
Okay. Call on Mr. Johnson at this time.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. At this time we have the pleasure of presenting an award, and the award we intend to present this evening is the Old North State Award. This is an award given by the governor to outstanding North Carolinians who have a proven record of exemplary service and commitment to their state and their community. Tonight we've been authorized by the governor to make this prestigious award to a person who has served the citizens of Iredell County for well over 35 years, both as a professional and an active community-minded volunteer in countless civic endeavors. It is an honor to present this award this evening to Mr. Ken Vaughn. Mr. Vaughn, would you come forward, please? Ken has been Iredell County's Extension Director since April of 1975, and during that time his leadership has helped to make Iredell County the outstanding agricultural county that it is today. Most folks know about Ken's reputation as our Extension Director, but what they may not know is his commitment to the youth of this county and to this state. For 32 consecutive years, he has trained 4-H youth teams for dairy judging competition, leading several to be state and national champions. What he teaches them goes way beyond their ability to judge a dairy cow. By his example and instruction has helped to instill in youth all over the state those attributes of a successful leader and citizen. So tonight we honor Ken for the contributions he has made and is continuing to make to Iredell County and the state of North Carolina. This time I'll present that award, which I left right behind me. Before I do so, allow me to indulge me, folks, to make a few personal comments about Ken Vaughn. In the almost 16 years I've been here, you come in contact with a lot of folks, and over a period of time, you gain a great deal of respect for some folks. And Ken is one of those folks. I often say many times when I see Ken, you haven't done anything to embarrass the county today, have you? But he never has. This county can be proud that we have a man of Mr. Vaughn's character in the position that he's in. He's a valuable resource to this county, to the county staff, and particularly to the Board of Commissioners. I say this in his presence and out. If you'll listen to Ken Vaughn and seek his counsel, he'll keep you out of trouble a lot of times. And the greatest attribute that he has, though, he can tell a man to go to the devil, and he's glad to be on his way. So I present you with this award. I'm going to ask Miss Birdie if she'd come up here. You didn't think you were going to get out of this, did you? Because she's the making of you, Vaughn. You know it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I have never forgotten that.
Yeah, she doesn't let you forget it, does she? That's all right. These are two fine folks right here. I really mean that. I love them to death. They're a blessing to me in this county. For dedication and service beyond expectation and excellence to the great state of North Carolina, on behalf of the citizens of this state, I bestow upon Kenneth Vaughn the Old North State Award. It says, you believe that every day of your life, even the most challenging times when people tell you, no, you can't, you will say, watch me. You stand up when others stay seated, speak up while others stay silent, and prove that it is possible to make a difference. And is signed by Governor Bev Perdue, May the 13th, 2010. Ken, I don't know anybody who deserves this more than you. Thank you, sir. Got you, didn't you?
Okay. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, before we proceed further, I think maybe we need to make a motion on the Memo 2 that was presented to us by Mrs. Rice, a Home and Community Care Block Grant. I would like to move it.
Okay.
We approve that.
Any questions regarding the motion? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, likewise. We will now go into public hearings. Hello, Mr. Russ Rogerson, I think. This BestSweet, is he here? Yes, sir. Okay. All right.
Mr. Chairman and Board of Commissioners, thank you for this time this evening. We're here to present an expansion opportunity for BestSweets, and I'm going to ask Robert Carney, our existing industry manager, to cover the details.
Once again, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman, Commissioners, we thank you for the time and consideration. We're here tonight on behalf of BestSweets, a candy confectionery manufacturer that's made Mooresville its home and headquarters since 1988. They're a producer of lozenges, cough drops, hard and chewy candies, dietary supplements, and over-the-counter drug products. They currently employ 263 full-time workers with an average salary 20% higher than the county wage average. They have proposed and are planning a 135,000 square foot warehouse distribution facility to their Mooresville headquarters and manufacturing operation. This will enable them to consolidate warehousing currently scattered throughout the county and increase capacity to meet current and future growth. This expansion will entail $6.8 million in new facility investment and $2 million in new machinery and equipment. Their total investment of $8.8 million will bring about an anticipated 10-year tax impact of $218,000 to Iredell County. In accordance to the Iredell County Industrial Development Incentive Program, we're requesting that the incentive being granted for BestSweet for 80% of the increased tax value paid back for a period of 5 years. Taking depreciation of machinery into account, this incentive grant would amount to $150,197 paid over a 5-year period of time, or $115,241 on a minimum $6.8 million investment. BestSweet has been an invested corporate citizen to Iredell County for over 2 decades, and we'll work to ensure they continue to invest in Iredell County and Mooresville for the years to come. On behalf of the Mooresville South Iredell Economic Development Corporation, I want to thank you for your time and consideration with this matter.
Thank you, sir. Any questions? Thank you. Appreciate that. Do we have anyone in the audience wish to speak in favor or against this consideration? If not, I will close the public hearing for this particular item, and we'll entertain a vote. Motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion that we provide an economic development incentive between $115,241 and $150,197 over a 5-year period based on an investment ranging between $6.8 million and $8.8 million.
Okay. Any questions regarding the motion? If not, all in favor of the motion, please say aye. 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 Those opposed, likewise.
No.
Okay, 1 no. Okay, our next public hearing would be dealing with the Ardell County budget. And what I would like to remind people that you will have, if you're planning to speak tonight, you have 5 minutes to speak in order to get everybody in so then one else can speak. After that time, we will cut you off. So I want to be upfront and polite about it. First name on the list is Amy Isley. She's representing SCAN. Am I correct?
Your Honor, I'll be speaking for SCAN. I'm Ronnie Crisco,
Ronnie
Chairman of our
Crisco?
board.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Gentlemen, thank you for letting me speak here tonight. I've got here in my hand a letter from County Manager Mashburn indicating that in the board's preliminary budget, the Exchange Can Child and Parenting Center here in Iredell County was allocated a proposed $4,850. And so the first thing I want to say is thank you for that allocation. I know that we are going through a time that is particularly difficult for all local governments, and so the fact that you're able to help us even in that regard, we very much appreciate it. Now, you may have noticed, and I'm not sure to what degree these things were discussed preliminarily, that we asked for quite a bit more this year than in years past. I asked Amy to ask you guys for $50,000. And not because we thought we were going to necessarily get it, but because I felt that in this particular instance, we owed it to you as the decision makers here in Iredell County, in our community, to give you an honest request based on what I am projecting when we approve a budget at our meeting next month is probably the shortfall that we're looking at. I felt this needed to be done for two reasons. First is if you don't ask, you can't receive. The second is I felt it was important to highlight for the county what we feel the value of the organization is to the county and to give you some food for thoughts, not only as you consider this budget, but future budgets. To tell you a little background, SCAN has three core programs. We have an at-risk kids program, which involves counseling and intervention for children who are involved in the juvenile justice system or who have been identified as being at high risk to be in that system. Now, the funds for this program generally come from the Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, and so it's kind of self-contained. Our second main program is the Family Connections, which is a supervised visitation program, and it affords parents who are subject to court order either in a divorce case or an abuse or neglect proceeding brought by DSS, allows them to maintain a connection if they are required to have supervision with their children. And until about 6 weeks ago, that was all undesignated funds, but I am proud to announce that we're on the verge of receiving, and Amy just tells me today that we got confirmation we're receiving a grant from the Governor's Crime Prevention Council that's going to more or less fund that program, hopefully for at least the next 2 years and maybe beyond. But our last program, our biggest and the source of the most expense, is called the Parent Aid Program. Now, this involves counselors and trained volunteers going into the homes of families with identified risks to children and try to equip the parents with the tools they need to become effective parenters of their children and to avoid ever becoming an abuser. Now, we teach things as basic as diaper changing. You'd be shocked how the frustration and embarrassment over not being able to provide even those basic things for your kid, especially for the young parents, can result in aggression and is going to manifest itself as anger, and those are the building blocks of abuse. We also teach more abstract concepts like communication and discipline so that parents and kids can deal with each other in effective, healthy, and more positive ways. Now, if you're looking for a monetary yardstick for SCAN's value, the best one that I like to use and try to reference is foster care, because when DSS identifies a problem that's severe, that's where the kids go. Since 2005, about 390 kids have been placed in foster care through the Iredell County DSS agency. For a 3 or 5-year-old, that's $470 a month. For a 9 or 10-year-old, it costs the government about $581 per month, and for a teenager, because you know what damage they can do, that's $634 a month. Our job is to go into homes and either prevent those kids from ever leaving the environment, or if they've already been removed, to help those kids get adopted or be back home with mom and dad. In the same time frame that 390 kids went into foster care, 292 were referred to our agency. Now, the best way that I can quantify to you the result and what we produce for these kids, of those 292 referrals, only 12% resulted in a removal and a placement of the children for any period of time in foster care. That doesn't include the kids whose parents refused services. In that same period of time, the parents of 15 children refused our services after referral. 13 of those 15 ended up in foster care for some period of time at a total cost to the taxpayers of over $75,000. Now, I hope you find those numbers useful. I hope you find them good food for thought. The only number that I make sure I mention every time I talk about SCAN is 0. Since 2002, there have been 0 fatalities of children in Iredell County from abuse and neglect. I think we've had a big part of that. And when you're considering both this budget and budgets in the years to come, whether it's me or someone else giving this presentation, I just want you to ask yourself what keeping that number at 0 is worth to this body. Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you. Any questions before he leaves? Anyone? Yes. Go ahead.
And if I don't know, I'm sure Ms. Isley does.
Yes, sir. You touched on something. You said that with your services, only 12% of the kids ended up in foster care, and without your services, 13 of 15 ended up in foster services. And you said that saved Iredell County $75,000. Is that correct?
Let me clarify that. It's hard to know of those that don't receive our services, how many of them go in. What the statistic was, we have records on the referrals we get. And of the 15 children whose parents didn't take our services, 13 of those 15 did go into foster care and did cost the county over $75,000. And I think one of those children is still in foster care. So that's an ongoing tally. Oh, okay, they just aged out last month, so it topped out somewhere north. The figure I have is $75,919 for those that we have records of that refused our services and then we found out later did go into foster care. Of the children that did receive our services, 12% ended up going into foster care for some period of time. So 12% versus those, of those that we were able to get in there and help versus 13 or 15. I didn't do that math, but 35. Okay, thank you.
So that $75,000 more or less, is that an annual number? Is that what I'm to understand?
No, it's not something that you can annualize easily because when a child goes into foster care, it's a variable as to how long they're going to be in there. I think the average we calculated from the numbers DSS was kind enough to share with us is that the average for the cases that we were involved in where they had already been in foster care or became involved and then we tried to get them out was about 35 months. But in terms of what the average stay for a child who goes into foster care can be, it can be obviously from the time they're referred until the time they're 18. And the circumstances depend on whether or not there's a potential for reunification, whether or not there's a third party that child can be placed with. In terms of that cost, that's not an annual cost. That's just those cases out of the, let's see, the 13 of the 15 who refused services. That's over a period of, I think, about 2+ years.
I've got the exact children, not the names, but the exact children.
We have 3 3-year-olds who were together for 57.5 months. That's $27,000. We have 1 5-year-old for 43 months. That's $10,800. 1 9-year-old only for 1 month. That's how variable it can be. So $581. 1 10-year-old for 8 months. That's $4,648. A 13-year-old for 1 month. That's $634.
Yes,
2
sir.
14-year-olds for $10,700, and a 15-year-old, 19 months, is $12,000. So those are individual cases, and I think the time period was about the last 2 years for those that we identified. So over about a 2-year period, that cost $75,000 plus.
Okay, a couple things. Could you get us the annualized number at some time in the near future?
We could, and it's been very difficult for us to sort of break these numbers down to be prepared for tonight. We can get that for you.
Okay, the only other question I had is that whatever that number comes to that's saved, is that saved to Iredell County directly, or is that saved to pass-through budgets? In other words, is this Iredell County taxpayers' dollars?
It's not all Iredell County taxpayers' dollars. I don't think you can say that. Some of it is going to be Medicaid because that is the cost to DSS. And obviously not all of DSS's budget comes from Iredell County.
And most of it's not, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
That's true. But we know that DSS is who puts these children in foster care. That's who the payments go to. When third parties who are providing foster care get checks, that's who it comes from. So based on whatever percentage is coming from Iredell County to fund DSS, that'll tell you how much of those dollars are Iredell County dollars having to be spent.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Rose, Arts Council.
Good evening. I'm Dusty Rhodes. I'm the Executive Director of the Iredell Arts Council. Due to fund restriction, my position is the only one, and it's a part-time position. Well, first I'd like to thank Iredell County for being such a good landlord. You allow us to use the old Iredell County Jail for our administrative offices, so thank you very, very much. Mr. Washburn, you're an extremely good landlord. I never see him. But I'm here to ask you to reconsider the allocation to the Iredell Arts Council. For the past 35 years, the Iredell Arts Council has been at the forefront of the arts in Iredell County, delivering funds from the state of North Carolina to arts organizations in the county. Acting as an umbrella support organization, we've assisted the Iredell Museum in presenting shows, Mitchell Community College in presenting African dancers, their annual writer series, and art shows. The Iredell Concert Association to present concerts to school students. The Mooresville and Statesville Artist Guilds to to put on art shows, the Mooresville Community Theater and the Mooresville Children's Theater to present plays each year, the Lake Norman Orchestra to purchase timpanis and to present concerts. We've helped resurrect the Statesville Community Theater. We've helped the Piedmont Boys and Girls Club with a theater project. And we've assisted dozens of other organizations to present concerts and other artistic ventures. The Iredell Arts Council at the same time has presented 4 to 8 free concerts each year over the past several years, ranging from bluegrass to the St. Patrick's Day concerts to military bands. All this on a threadbare budget. We use a small portion of the state funds for our own programs and operations. To pay for the rest of our operating costs, we must rely on donations, funds raised, grants, and local government support. The North Carolina Cultural Resources Secretary, Linda Carlisle, recently stated that creativity means business. Now, I don't have the figures for the value of the arts just in Iredell County, but I do have them for North Carolina. The arts contribute $41.4 billion, that's with a B, billion dollars worth of created industry products and services in North Carolina each year through artists, craft makers, museums, art schools, theater, movies, music, architects, designers, and the associated manufacturers. The creative industry creates and sustains more than 293,000 jobs, which is 5.5% of the state's employment, drawing $10 billion, again with a B, in salaries. According to the North Carolina Department of Commerce figures, these jobs pay an average of $59,000 per year, well above the $36,000 average for state workers. An analysis of job loss shows that creative occupations lose jobs at about half the rate of other occupations. Other nearby counties in the same economic conditions as Iredell are seeing the benefits of a strong art program in their counties and making our local government support of these arts look pretty puny. Total Iredell local government contributions to the Iredell Arts Council the current fiscal year, which is 09-10, was $4,825, with $3,325 from the city of Statesville and $1,500 from Mooresville, 0 from Iredell County. This total contributions comes to 3 cents per capita. Remember that number, 3 cents per capita. Let me compare some of the other adjacent counties. Lincoln County, local governments gave $16,000, 20 cents per capita. Davie County gave $75,000, $1.72 per capita. Alexander County gave $12,000, 32 cents per capita. Rowan County governments gave $47,000, which is 33 cents per capita. Cabarrus County government gave $76,000, 41 cents per capita. And I'm not even going to mention Catawba County because they give $194,000 from their county. $142,000 are from the county commissioners. And I see I'm going to run out of time. I'd like to point out that the Iredell Arts Council has set into motion long-range plans to grow the arts in Iredell County, which includes hiring a full-time professional executive director and greatly increasing our fundraising efforts. We're going to encourage and assist arts on all levels and disciplines. Now imagine how your house would look if you didn't have any art hanging on the walls and didn't have any music playing. Now, I want you to take that dead zone and expand it all the way to the city of Statesville and to Iredell County. I don't want to live in a county or in a house like that, and I don't think you do either. Help us to help the citizens of Iredell County to a better quality of life. And I will ask you to please reconsider the allocation to the Arts Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. Any questions for Mr. Rose? Don't see to have any. Ms. Smith. Mike Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. We certainly have appreciated your consistent and long-standing support for economic development in Iredell County. We come before you tonight to respectfully ask that you not change the budget item from the last year. In particular, with what we've experienced over the last 2 years in terms of unprecedented unemployment in our community, we feel that now would be is a time to really invest a little more rather than less for economic development purposes. Again, we appreciate your continued support and would hope, again, that you would not change our budget item this particular year.
I also just want to thank you for your continued support of economic development. Understand you're facing very difficult budget times, and we appreciate all you do for Iredell County and particularly for economic development.
Thank you. Any questions from anyone? Thank you, sir. Thank you. Mr. Erskine Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'm Erskine Smith. I am the current chairman of Information Referral Service of Iredell County. Information Referral was a byproduct of Iredell County Strategic Visions Project and the first human needs assessment back in the late 80s. United Way and Iredell County both received a planning grant, and a year and a half later, in 1992, Information Referral was born. It has always been a long-standing organization in the county, half funded by governments and half funded by the United Way agencies in the county. Our Information Referral provides many services to the community, linking families and individuals who are in need to various service providers. Information Referral is a neutral agency that engages and facilitates community planning with partners together to solve real community problems, such as consumer credit counseling and prescription drug assistance. Information Referral networks with many agencies to identify gaps in services such as the Open Door Clinic, Iredell County Health Department, Health Reach Assistance Clinic. Information Referral also provides limited case management, listening to those in need and making the most appropriate referral to the service agency. Information Referral provides training and transportation and training and information opportunities to businesses, industries, and residents, such as brochures and packages of information during plant closures and layoffs. It also develops and updates and distributes a community of Iredell County community resources. A hard copy book, which I'm sure all of you have seen around, and the link is on the county website at the present time. And this book is used by many health and human service agencies throughout the county. Information Referral reduces the financial impact on community by referring families and individuals to the most appropriate agency the first time. Our board also practices responsible spending. It has a small budget and staff. County funding accounts for close to half of the non-grant income of our budget. Your funding is less than 2% of 1 penny. If Iredell County receives no funding or partial funding, the impact on health and human services will be greatly impacted. The community will move back to 1992 when calls and individuals got bounced around from agency to agency until the appropriate referral was made. Who will answer the 5,000 calls for service? Who will answer the 800 calls for county governmental services? Who's going to be the primary agency responsible for enhancing and updating and distributing the directory of community resources? Who will provide grant writing opportunities for other agencies? And who will administer EFS funds for the county? We have a future ahead of us, and we recognize the need for enhancement, and we are beginning to adapt to that need. Our longtime director, Joanne Fent, left in February 2009. Our new director, Lisa Kraft, was hired in November of 2009. We are in the process of establishing a 501c3 application, a new name, HelpLink Incorporated. We're trying to expand our board, and we're also working on a new website. Our plans are to increase case management and outreach efforts and explore grant writing with other agencies. We also want to increase our agency collaboration. We hope to increase revenue sources by offering notary and interpreting services and continue to look for additional funding opportunities. I have been around and on the board since 1992, and we've had support from Iredell County since 1992 as well. Our services will affect citizens and agencies of the county. We ask you to please reconsider funding information referral like you have for almost the past 20 years. Mr. Chairman, I do have some letters of support from some surrounding agencies that I'd like to pass. I'll give them to Mr. Pope that he can pass along to the board. A couple of our board members are here. Commissioner Keatle is here, Lucille Carter, and our staff person, Maria Mason, is also here.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pope.
Any questions for Mr. Smith? Anyone? Okay. Thank you, sir. Call on Mr. Kimberly Clark at this time.
Okay, my name is Frank Lawson. I'm representing Avalon Farms with Kimberly. And Avalon Farms is a 49-acre retreat in northern Iredell based mainly to service at-need risk children. The complex includes a welcome center, some accommodations, horse and ponies, assorted other animals, trails, and barn facilities. The purpose of it is to heal by working with horses to the at-risk kids. We currently have 40 Ardell school children on this year. For the last 2 years, we have done this free of charge, but we need to expand this to more needy kids, and we will have to have your help to do this. And we'd like to ask you to reconsider the $6,500 request that we made. This organization was started by Kimberly Clark, and she's here to fill you in on the details.
Hello. I started Avalon Farm about 10 years ago as a 501c3, and it was a offshoot of a company I had in Charlotte called Life Management, and we did life skills training and development programs in homes and in corporations in Charlotte. And so I started the 501c3 because we wanted to serve more people, and it just so happened that the land, the 50 acres, was donated by a person in Charlotte, and it is in Iredell County. So we are new to this county. We've been on that property for 4 years, and the first 2 years we spent upfitting the facilities. If you haven't been there, you need to come see it. It's beautiful. And what we're serving is at-risk youth, juveniles, and special needs from Iredell County schools. Currently, we do some private clients. We had phone calls today from a lady whose husband killed somebody in a drunk driving accident, and he's going to prison. She has 3 children. They're bouncing off the walls because of problems in the home, so we do behavior modification programs through the horses. I don't know if any of you have ever worked with any horses. They're very empowering for people that have had trauma or have had loss or some type of plight in their life. So that's what the main program is at the farm. That, and as far as the special needs children that we work with from the county schools, they bring them out by the bus loads. I don't really know what all's going on there. We are working with the school board, and we're doing some presentations, and we're making more requests because school children are really enjoying it, and the school board, some of them have been out and have seen that, and I don't know what type of collaboration is going to develop, but we're pursuing that as well. They're not sending them out by the bus loads and having positive enrichment experiences for no reason at all. So we're grateful to be able to serve that, and like Frank said, we've been doing that for 2 years, and gratis, and we're glad to do it. I built the facility to work with the horses because they're a gift from God, And so we don't really want to charge for that particular program, although we have expenses to operate the facility, and they're great. As the facilities, it's huge, and there's a lot of other programs that go on there for these special needs children. Like, you know, we all come from agrarian roots, so there's nothing greater to me than watching a child that's sitting in a desk and force-fed reading, writing, arithmetic, and brain work all day long. They're bouncing off the walls and they're medicated, but they come out to the farm and they have reprieve. They dig in the dirt, they make a garden, they build a fence, they build a handicap ramp, they contribute. So we're doing that with them, and not only are we doing that with them, we're also working in as they graduate, and we're doing training and development programs for jobs and job placements, and we're working with some organizations here in the county that mentor these young children as they graduate and put them into skills program into the workforce. So we're working with those organizations as well. And I mean, there's all kinds of things that we're doing there. We just received a grant today, yay, so I'm very grateful for that because I wrote it. So we're grant writing. We're developing our board and always doing more of that and bringing people into what we're doing. So I, too, would like you to reconsider our request for $6,500. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Ms. Clark? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Paul Claney.
My name is Paul Claney. I'd like to speak tonight as a citizen of the county and speak on behalf of the students in the Iredell-Statesville school system. These students certainly need your support. They have received your support over the past years, and I'm asking that you continue to support these students. The students need adequate facilities. They need very qualified teachers. They need materials for their classrooms, and they need proper technology. But as you do provide support for the school systems, I'm asking you also to ask the school system to be accountable for those funds. I've been observing the Iredell-Statesville school system over the last few years with regard to the expenses in the administration, and have found that the administration in the Iredell-Statesville schools and the administrators proper are doing very well with regard to employment and the pay that they've received. I did a study about 1 year ago and found that Iredell-Statesville schools have 59% more central office administrators than Buncombe County schools, yet Iredell-Statesville had 21% fewer students. I was trying to compare Iredell-Statesville to similar sized schools. In addition, I found that Iredell-Statesville schools have 40% more central office administration than Davidson County schools, while having only 3% more students. If these other schools can have central office administrations that are much leaner and still get the job done, then Iredell-Statesville can do the same. We seem to be continuing with a process that was started several years ago to increase the central office staff, and this has often been to the detriment of the students rather than helpful to the students. In addition to the central office staff, the school system employs some 35 former teachers as instructional facilitators that are supposed to be helping the teachers do their jobs, but in many cases, from what I have heard from teachers in the school systems, this is not occurring. These instructional facilitators spend much of their time in meetings and not helping teachers do their jobs. As we have some 25 to 50 teachers retiring this year, these instructional facilitators should be moved back into the classrooms to replace teachers retiring and resigning, and this would save the school system a significant amount of money, by some estimates from $1 to $2 million each year. So I'm asking you to continue supporting the schools, but also to make sure that there is accountability and that the money gets to the students and is not funneled to the central office administration. Certainly, a certain amount of money is needed for administrative services. I'm not denying that, but we need to be considerate as to just how much goes to administration and how much goes to students. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Do we have anyone else in the audience who did not sign up but wishes to speak tonight regarding the budget? If not, I will consider the public hearing closed regarding the budget. At this time, I'd be glad to, if you like, entertain a motion. Any questions from board members? Any motions from board members regarding the budget?
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I just, if we could, if it pleases the chair, I'd just like to see us go ahead and proceed on administrative matters and give us some time to reflect on these statements and
okay,
perhaps make a motion later in the meeting if that pleases the chair.
Mr. Mashburn?
Okay, Mr. Chairman, under administrative matters, we have several items, and as we have discussed and previously agreed to, the process that we're going to take this evening is kind of a modified consent. I'm going to basically highlight the different items, administrative matters. You will either put those under consent or hold them for further discussion. First item is request from the Iredell-Statesville Schools to consent to submit an application for additional qualified school construction bonds with the funding to be used on the school, the Cool Spring Elementary project. That's memo number 5. This is $4,386,854 of what they call QSCB funding. Approval of this request is not approval to commit to the project, just authorization to go ahead and apply for those funds so that they will be available when the county is in a position to borrow the money to go forward with the project.
Okay, do we have a consent on that item?
I find the school's going to make the application, though, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Consent? Consent.
Okay.
Okay.
Request from the Iredell-Statesville Schools regarding the right of first refusal for the Ebenezer School property. This is memo number 6. This is property, of course, that has been vacated for use as a school facility, and under state statutes, the school system has to offer the county the right of first refusal. Staff has looked at this and tried to determine if there were some long-range needs that we would have for this. But with the current situation, economic situation, we have no immediate need for this facility, nor if we did, would we have the funds to retrofit the facility for our use. Okay. So we have no recommendation that the county accept the offer of, or take up the offer of first refusal.
Okay. Consent to this item? Consent? Yeah. Consent.
Memo number 7 is a request from the Iredell-Statesville schools to apply for lottery funding to continue the Career Academy and Technical School. And again, this is to apply for $1,966,000. And this would continue the work that is planned for the Career Academy and Technical School, which some work has already been done on and some funding has already been secured.
Okay. Consent?
Yep.
Okay.
Next item is to call for a public hearing on June the 15th of 2010 for a proposed Federal Transit Administration Job Access and Reverse Commute Grant to be submitted through the North Carolina Department of Transportation. That's memo number 8. This is a continuation of funding that we currently receive and provide those services. The period of performance for this grant is July the 1st of 2010 through June the 30th of 2012. The total amount of the grant is $173,915. $86,957 of that is federal, and the other is local and state grant funds. Local funds are the local funds that are used are from receipts that we do receive from ridership.
Question? Consent?
Yes. We have a request from the tax collector to reappoint as deputy tax collectors Linda Mara, Ann Gray Ray, and Shannon Lester. This would be for 3-year terms and would end with the current tax collector's term of office. Also, the tax collector is recommending the appointment of, or the approval of the appointment of Kelly Campbell as a deputy tax collector with a 1-year term.
Consent?
Yes, sir. Item F, memo number 10 is a request for approval of budget amendment number 71, and I'm going to call on Ms. Blumenstein to make this presentation.
We did receive state funding of $2,138 more than initially budgeted in the FY10 budget. I did not come to you earlier to request that you increase our budget because I was afraid the state would retract that additional funding. They have not, and I would ask you to approve this budget amendment, please.
Okay. Consent?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Also, Ms. Blumenstein will present item G, memo number 11.
In December of 2009, the Board of Commissioners approved a project ordinance for the Mitchell Community College Mooresville new classroom building. We had set that project ordinance up just as we had our public school financings in the past, where the county assumed ownership of the facility and gave the facility as collateral for the financing. We've since learned that there is a state statute that prevents us for holding the type of reconveyance back to Mitchell that we have for other facilities. So we will not be able to record that as an asset of the county. We will strictly make reimbursement to Mitchell Community College for the loan proceeds as they spend their matching funds. This project ordinance amends our budget and reduces it by $1,856,000 so that we can be in compliance with state community college regulations.
Any questions?
So the debt is just backed by the taxing authority of the county, is that?
It's still backed by the collateral that we've given in the building, but it's handled a little bit differently. For public schools, when we reconvey the property back to the public schools, we can negotiate a value of the facility at that time. Okay. The general statutes for community colleges require that when reconveyance is made at the end of the retirement of the debt, then there can be no cost to the college. And that's why we need to handle it differently.
Okay, consent?
Yes, sir.
Consent? Okay.
Memo H, or item H, memo number 12, is a request from the Sheriff's Office to apply for our traffic checkpoint equipment grant in the amount of $21,300. The equipment will be used by officers while conducting North Carolina Governor's Highway Safety Program campaigns and while conducting other checkpoints. There is no match for this funding. Recommended approval.
Okay. Consent?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Can I ask for an alibi and go back to item 11? And I'm going to regret asking this question, but why are the public schools and the community colleges, why do they have that different set of accounting rules? And if it's a long CPA answer, you don't have to answer it. But if it's something simple, I'm kind of curious.
I'll let Bill answer.
It's a legal answer.
No, it's a political answer. The Department of Community Colleges seems to have a stronger lobby. They got a special bill through the legislature that I was not aware of.
Budget.
Pardon?
To do this, it didn't impact how much money we spent or anything. I don't understand.
No, it affects our accounting a little bit, though. It doesn't affect our budget. It doesn't change anything we've done. But it requires, this law requires that we give it back to them at the end of the period for nothing. We had hoped to have the option of getting something. We probably wouldn't have actually asked for anything. Probably would have conveyed it back because we have an obligation to fund them anyway. Right. But we were unaware that there was a mandatory obligation to reconvey. And I think it's fair to say, based on my conversation with bond counsel, that nobody in the community college, nobody financing community college facilities was aware of it either. But auditors thought we ought to comply with the law, so they suggested that we do that.
So only if you had some adversarial relationship with the community colleges might it come into play.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, but
sorry if I have to go backwards.
Yeah, but they're holding all the face cards.
Yeah.
So I don't want to belabor the point. So at the end of the debt service, the community college would be held harmless as far as the county going back to them negotiate anything as far as additional costs that we incurred in processing the financing or anything like that. Whereas the public schools, that's not the case. Is that pretty much it?
Yes, sir. And during the period that the debt is outstanding with the public schools, Iredell County can record the asset on its books. We have the debt, we also have the asset. The way that the community colleges is structured now, that combined with accounting rules, the county will have the debt and no asset. And that's what we always try to avoid. I hate to have an eroding balance sheet.
Thank you, Mr. Blumenstein.
Okay. Item I, memo number 13, is a request from the Sheriff's Department for approval to apply for a North Carolina Governor's Highway Safety Program continuation grant for 2 patrol deputy positions along with equipment, which would be mounted radar sign. And we currently have the first year of this funding. It's basically a 4-year program. First year is 15% local. Next year it's 30%, then it goes to 50%, and then on the 4th year it's 100% local funds. The sheriff proposes to use C's funds for the local match of this program. I think it's C's funds, yes.
Is Captain Phillips available to take
Captain Phillips is here.
We
appreciate you coming by.
Thank you.
This board has expressed some reservations about some of these seed funds that we get from the state or the federal government, where they start by subsidizing some sort of venture by a full amount or a large majority. Then with time, they pull their funding. They expect for us to make up the difference, and then for some period thereafter, we're expected to continue to bear the burden of all the expenses. The way that this particular program is running, it shows that last year, which was our first year, we paid 15%. This year, we're supposed to pay 30%. Third year, it's 50%. And the fourth year, the county, when I say the county, I mean if you draw a circle around the county organizations, that we provide 100%. Mr. Mashburn provided us information that y'all were planning to use seized funds, which basically comes from the drug dealers that unfortunately received a certificate of achievement from a deputy on the interstate, I assume, and lost his drug money. And y'all are saying that y'all are going to be able to fulfill the entire county obligation by utilizing seized funds. That's correct.
That is the plan.
Okay. And that's for all 4 years that you believe that you'll be able to do that?
Yes, I think so. You're talking about the match in the first 3 years, because this year we'll get a 30% match.
Correct.
Okay, and then it goes to 50% match.
All right. What about in the fourth year when it goes to 100%?
Fourth year, there is a sustainability requirement there. However, we can cancel the contract with a 30-day notice. If we do that, we may be liable to have to purchase some of the equipment at a fair market, what they term as a fair market price at that time. But the contract, we can opt out of the grant with a 30-day notice at any time. The penalty for doing that is possibly having to go back and purchase the equipment that we have purchased with grant funding.
Okay, good. Mr. Mashburn, we asked for you to review it for an interpretation. Is that basically what you see as being our obligation as far as the county goes?
Basically what it said was that there is the anticipation that the county will proceed with that program during the fourth and after the fourth year. But there is a provision in there of a way to opt out of it, and it's not as clear as the captain has stated that it is, but it does appear that is the case.
Okay. All right. Just last thing, and this is a comment, not necessarily a question. You know, we commend the sheriff for seeking these opportunities that enable him to put basically more deputies on the street and have someone else pay for it, in essence. Even though this particular project is supposed to be traffic oriented, if a deputy's out there and a bank gets robbed, he answers all calls, and we appreciate that. We just want to make sure that the sheriff's department is aware of kind of the deal that we've made, which says that which basically says that if this economic downturn isn't a blip on the radar screen, but really is somewhat the new norm that reflects the employment picture, property valuations, and the unemployment rate, that it may be very difficult for us to assume liability for additional positions in those out years once the subsidies for them go away. So that's just kind of a warning for keep your eye on what's going on a couple years out, because we certainly have to.
And we communicate with Ms. Blumenstein regularly to make sure that we're trying to do that. So.
I understand.
If I may make a statement, Mr. Phillips, I want you to communicate to the sheriff's not the desire of this board to appear to be unappreciative of what he's trying to do. We're not picking on the sheriff's department. We're concerned across concerning this matter all across the county departments. We, a year ago, you might say this recession will be over in 12 to 18 months. History dictates that if there's a change in monetary or physical policy, it is 18 to 24 months before the economy actually begins to recover. This may appear to be a political statement, but it's just a historical fact. There's nothing being put forth right now from a monetary or physical policy that is going to aid this economy in recovery. So we have to assume that it's a minimum of 2 more years of this.
And I'll share that with the Sheriff.
Okay, and that's what we're preparing for. Thank you, sir.
Did you put that on consent?
Yes, sir.
Consent.
Okay. Next item also is a request from the Sheriff's Department for approval to apply for the 2011 Justice Assistance Grant, $25,917. That's memo number 4. The funds will come from the Department of Justice, and there is no match to this grant, and it will be used to purchase in technology and to fund the youth athletic program.
Consent?
Yes, sir.
Okay, consent.
Memo number 15 is the Iredell County Sheriff's Office seeks consent for a budget amendment and to accept a grant from the North Carolina Solar Center, North Carolina Department of Transportation, to convert 13 departmental vehicles to run on propane fuel and gasoline. The grant covers the project cost of the 13 vehicle conversion of $56,726. This item's been before you before, and you at that time wanted to move forward with that project, but at the same time there was some discussion about applying for a grant to try to reduce the county's cost of that. It's anticipated that the savings for converting over to propane will offset the county's cost. However, with this, it even makes the project a little bit better for the county to receive this grant funds. Upfront cost will be $16,900. Federal equity sharing will be used to pay the local match.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Consent?
Yes.
Yes, consent. Okay.
And the last item from the Sheriff's Department is approval of budget amendment number 73 in the amount of $30,000 to transfer funds from the commissary revenues to commissary operations.
Consent. Yes, sir. Consent. Okay.
Item M was deleted. Item N is request for approval of an agreement with municipal engineering for the design and supervision work related to the construction of a white goods facility at the transfer station in Mooresville, and commit $350,000 from the white goods funds for the total cost of the structure. The agenda indicated that this was $50,000. Actually, it's a not-to-exceed figure of $35,000 to do the construction, design, and so forth of that particular project. We do have representatives from the engineering firm as well as our landfill here tonight to answer any questions you may have. And these funds are funds that we are eligible to receive and have actually need to allocate these funds and use these funds, and we will not continue to receive the funds. Am I correct about that, Mr. Lambert? Yes. We currently have a white goods facility at the Statesville tipping facility, but we do not have one in Mooresville. This is one of the recycling programs where we actually can make some money on it.
Okay. Any questions, Mr. Lambert? Any questions? All in favor? Consent.
Yes.
Okay. Memo number 19 is request for approval of a deed for the conveyance of the old Iredell Vocational Workshop to Lifespan. Would like for you to, this is approximately 14 acres of land that would be turned over to or deeded to Lifespan. I would like to read a portion of Exhibit A, memo number 19. It says the above property is conveyed to the grantee upon the express condition that the property shall only be used for a public purpose as defined herein below and shall only be owned by a nonprofit agency. Public purpose shall mean a purpose for which Iredell County may lawfully appropriate tax funds. Title will immediately and automatically revert to Iredell County without entry or action upon an attempted conveyance, 1, to a for-profit entity, or 2, upon the property being used for any non-public purpose. It is the intention of the parties to create an automatic reversion upon the happening of either of these conditions cited therein. So as long as it's being used for a public purpose and one that the county can appropriate funds to, then it can be sold by Lifespan to another nonprofit. But if either of those conditions spelled out here exist, then it would automatically revert back to the county. Mr. Pope, I think, has worked on this wording. So I'm sure if you have questions about it, the wording, he can respond to those.
Mr. Pope, what if they make capital improvements to this property, say 10 years from now, and increase the value of it, and then all of a sudden they decide they're going to pull a fast one and sell it to Steve Johnson, and he's going to open up some enterprise there? Does it revert back to us, or are we going to be forced to pay for whatever capital improvements they made?
No, it's to revert back to us.
Okay.
And I intended to make that an automatic reversion. There are different kinds of reversions. One is where you have to enter and file a lawsuit and all that sort of stuff. This is a true automatic reversion.
Okay.
All right. That's a question. Is there any time frame, say they just vacate the property and quit using it? Is there any time frame before we take action to get it back?
No, we just have to ascertain that they have abandoned it. We wouldn't have the right to enter until they had. Did that answer the question?
Did you put that on consent, or you want to wait?
Consent.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay. Item P, memo number 20, is a request to approve a 3-year agreement with Blackboard Connect. And that when we first started this, it was called Connect CTY or Connect County or Connect City. We're a party to that, as well as the municipalities. This is just a continuation of that agreement that we have with Blackboard Connect for a mass notification system.
Consent?
I got a question.
Okay.
Tracy, you may.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Mr. Jackson, it says under C, Section 1, Paragraph C, under maintenance, it says Blackboard Connect will also provide the customer with unlimited maintenance and support. And then over here, it says limited warranty. They're basically selling us this thing as is, where it is. Now,
right. There's no equipment on site.
Okay.
So it's all hosted
at their facilities.
All right, but if this thing goes down, there's nothing that we're responsible for as far as them fixing it. They're going to take care of it, right?
Right. That's
24/7.
That's their problem.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Consent?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
And item Q is a request to review and discuss the county's health insurance coverage. This came from previous agenda, memo number 21. In May the 11th, the board requested that this item be placed on the agenda. Attached is a memo that I've sent and that you have previously received. In addition to this, Mr. Pope, the attorney, may is here to respond to any questions you may have. I think all of you know the background on this, and basically I just want to summarize that the county, we feel that we have the ability to structure the services that we provide as follows, either to cover only therapeutic abortions or to cover therapeutic abortions and abortions as a result of rape or incest, and also to cover therapeutic and elective abortions. Our current policy would be item 3. The recommendation is that the board consider approving change to the policy to cover option number 1.
Any questions?
I guess the consent would be to accept the manager's recommendation for number 1. Consent's fine with me.
Consent? Okay.
And the last item is approval of the May 5 and May the 11th minutes.
All consent?
Yes, sir.
Consent.
Mr. Chairman, to recapture that, I believe that all the items under administrative matters have been put as consent agenda items. Therefore, a motion to accept the consent agenda would be in order.
Okay, I will entertain a motion.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, any questions regarding the motion? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, likewise. Okay. Announcement of vacancies occurring on boards and commissions. The Fire Tax District Board, 1 announcement. High Career Board Directors, 2 announcements. Carolinas Partnership, 1 announcement. Mitchell Community College of Trustees, 1 announcement. Mooresville Planning Board, ETJ, 1 announcement. Region F Agent Advisory Committee, 1 announcement. Board of Social Services, 1 announcement. State Airport Commission, 1 announcement. Troutman Planning and Zoning Board, ETJ, 1 announcement. Ardell County Planning Board, 4 announcements. Appointments to boards and commissions. Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, 7 appointments.
I'm sorry. You got ahead of it, Mr. Chairman. That was Juvenile Crime Prevention Council.
Yes, sir.
I would nominate Sally Dellinger, Don Earnhardt, Rudy Davis, Vicki Dame, and Lee Byers.
Okay. Any questions regarding the motion? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
Chairman Norman, Krista Hyatt, she is also recommended to replace Sam Swain, and also Larry Green is interested in serving.
Okay.
Crystal?
Yes.
Krista Hyatt
Okay.
and Larry Green.
I quit too quick.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'd offer, in addition, the names of Krista Hyatt and Larry Green, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All in favor of those 2 names, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Central Carolina Workforce Development Board, 2 appointments.
Mr. Chairman, I'd nominate Carol Johnson and Todd Alexander.
Any additional nominees? Any questions? All in favor of the two nominees, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Adult Care Home Community Advisory Committee, one appointment.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Janet Hall.
Okay, Ms. Hall, any additional nominations? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed likewise. Unfinished business?
Mr. Chairman, I want to discuss the budget for a moment.
Okay.
We had a line item that pertains to the travel budget for the commissioners, and it was cut by roughly 9% last year and then restored this year. I would like to propose that we do not restore it this year, and additionally that we cut an additional 3% from the county commissioner's overall compensation. And I guess that's a motion.
Okay. Any questions regarding the motion? All in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? No. No. Okay.
And
what was yours?
Yeah, if it pleases the chair, in continuation of the discussion of the motion.
Sure.
I would offer a motion that we instruct the staff to begin preparation of a budget ordinance reflecting the changes we made up to this time, Mr. Chairman. Conditional upon the amendments that I think the only pending matter we got is the changes in the fees for the fire marshal's office. Is that, Mr.?
Actually, we're not going to be bringing that forward to you at this time.
Okay.
So we will bring that back to you at a later time.
Okay. So we will deal with that in the next budget?
Yeah, we were not budgeting the money anyway.
Okay. Okay.
So.
Well, that works out fine then.
Okay.
That we begin to instruct staff to prepare a budget ordinance for our approval with the amendments that we've made to this point, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Any questions regarding the motion? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay. New business. County manager report.
Mr. Chairman, we do have a report tonight. I'm going to call on Tracy to come to the podium in just a moment. But I would like to say that this is the pretense that we use to try to get our cooperative extension director here in order to receive his honor. And he almost didn't come through with us on this. As I think all of you know, Mr. Vaughn is a person who likes to know what's going to happen and make sure that it's all planned out. And it was hard to get him here and not let him know exactly what was going to happen. But we're glad that he finally showed up for that. But we do have a committee report, and I have asked Tracy to just kind of summarize and highlight some of the activities that are taking place or have been taking place with the Capital Improvement Committee that you appointed to take a look at the Iredell County Fair.
All right, well, thank you. If you remember at the winter retreat, we gave you a quick update on the Fairground Committee and where it stood and its activities. We've met since then. We met in April, and the big controversy or discussion at that time was whether to go ahead and continue with H.H. Architects out of Raleigh in terms of looking at a facility for the fairgrounds. What the committee decided was to go ahead and try to use some local talent, use some local surveyors. We have a private construction company that's offered to engineer some plans for the facility, proposed facility. And so we're moving on that course. The Kiwanis have volunteered to pay for the surveying of a potential facility, and it would be located where the office is right now, potentially. Proposal is about 20,000 square feet. Early estimate is it might cost somewhere in the neighborhood of $40 per square foot to build. It would be a multi-purpose facility, something that would expand the use there at the fairground, offer a lot more opportunities than what we currently have for different venues and different programs. So it's something the committee is very interested in. As far as funding, they would try to fund it with grants and matching funds. So we're very early in the discussions on this, and that's the biggest activity of the committee so far. The other thing that we talked about was parking facilities, some of the parking issues there at the fairground, and looking at some alternatives, and we're still exploring those. So Mr. Johnson's on the committee. He may have some comments or some insight to provide other than what I've already stated, and I'd be glad to take any questions if you have any.
Mr. Jackson, I apologize for the gentleman's name who worked in the planning office who drew up the schematic for the parking.
David Montgomery.
Right.
Right.
He did a good job.
Yeah.
He knew what he was doing, and he's going to get us some more parking spaces simply by better utilizing the acreage that we have. So we're fortunate to have him there. What our intent is that if we can proceed at some point with the construction of this building, is design a building for uses that would generate some cash flow for the county that could be accumulated at some point. And going forward would preclude us from having to spend a great deal of money on subsequent buildings. But that would provide it. And given surveys of activities and so forth, we think we can do that. I don't mean to say we're going to have some huge enterprise fund where we're going to bring you back a lot of money, but we hope to get to the point where it'll be a revenue source that can be rolled back into the fairground for substantial capital improvements in the future.
Mr. Chairman, that's all.
Thank you, sir. At this time, we have a closed session. The legal matter GS 143, that's 318.11, Section A3. All in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Is there any other business tonight from anyone? If not, motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye.